Year 2100. New York stands where the ocean once promised destruction. From space, the New York metropolitan region appears as a brilliant constellation of light. For centuries, New York grew by embracing the water. The harbor created opportunity, welters. Everything changed after Hurricane Sandy. The storm revealed how vulnerable America's largest city had become, causing, throughout the 21st century, rising seas became impossible to ignore. Higher tides combined with stronger storms threatened to flood neighborhoods that had once believed themselves protected. By 2100, storms had become larger, slower, and more destructive. Without extraordinary protection, instead of accepting retreat, America launched an unprecedented engineering mission. Artificial intelligence.
The solution was not a single wall. It was an interconnected system of movable gates, elevated coastlines.
This is not the story of escaping climate change. It is the story of how humanity chose to
To protect New York, engineers first had to understand the harbor itself. Every tide, every river, and every current would go.
Beneath the surface lies the true battlefield. The strength of any future barrier depends not on steel alone. Each foundation would descend through unstable sediment before locking into solid bedrock, creating the strongest marine structures ever constructed on the American coastline. Construction began with reshaping the harbor itself. Millions of cubic meters of sediment were carried.
Some individual foundation blocks weighed more than entire naval warships. Moving them required engineering choreography.
Every movable gate was manufactured with extraordinary precision. A single alignment error measured in millimeters could compromise the safety of millions of people. When completed, each ocean gate stood as tall as a 20-story building, capable of sealing entire navigation channels against the Atlantic Ocean. Before construction reached the real harbor, engineers recreated the ocean inside laboratories. Testing year after year, the skyline changed. What began as scattered foundations slowly became the largest coastal defense system ever built in the Western Hemisphere. For the first time in history, New York was no longer simply living beside the ocean. It was learning how to live in partnership with it. The first line of defense was never designed to stop ordinary tides. It was built for the rare moments when nature unleashes its greatest force.
Hidden below the surface, the barrier became more than infrastructure. Its foundations created an entirely new marine ecosystem where engineering and nature evolved together. Each gate weighs hundreds of thousands of tons, yet advanced hydraulic systems allow it to move with remarkable precision.
Artificial intelligence continuously analyzes tides, wind speed, atmospheric pressure, and river flow, predicting dangerous storm surges hours before the first wave reaches the city. More than 2 million sensors transform the coastline into a living nervous system, allowing New York to detect microscopic structural changes in real time. Not every solution was made of steel. Vast wetlands became natural shock absorbers. Engineers discovered that the safest flood barrier could also become the city's favorite public park, protecting neighborhoods without sacrificing beauty. Protecting the skyline meant nothing without protecting what lay beneath it. Underground tunnels received intelligent flood doors. Instead of fighting every drop of rain, New York redesigned its underground landscape, turning water into a resource that could be captured, stored, and controlled. The future of New York was never about building a single giant wall. It was about creating an entire city that could breathe. A barrier that remained closed would destroy one of the world's busiest ports. The challenge was building gates powerful enough to stop. Every moving component was designed to survive millions of operating cycles. The gates could close with extraordinary precision despite weighing more than entire skyscrapers.
Human inspectors were no longer the first line of defense. Intelligent drones continuously scanned every centimeter of streets.
Below the waves, autonomous submarines monitored erosion, sediment movement, and foundation stability. Unlike traditional infrastructure, the barrier was designed for constant adaptation, responding differently to changing seasons, tides, and weather patterns throughout the year. Artificial intelligence processed billions of environmental measurements every hour, transforming raw data into decisions that could protect millions of lives before danger even appeared.
Then came the warning. A rapidly strengthening was accelerating along toward the northeastern coast.
The storm stretched across hundreds of miles. Its enormous oscillation pushed unimaginable volumes of seawater. Unlike the disasters of the past, panic never arrived first. Automated warning systems coordinated transport. For the first time, the world would witness whether humanity's greatest coastal defense system could truly hold back the Atlantic Ocean. The moment had arrived. A storm stronger than anything recorded in the previous century was pushing billions of tons of seawater directly toward New York City. Within seconds, artificial intelligence confirmed the prediction. Every sensor across the Atlantic agreed.
Across New York Harbor, gates taller than skyscrapers began moving together with synchronization.
Even during the emergency, the system protected commerce. The final ships cleared the channel moments before the ocean barrier locked into place. Beneath the surface, hidden locking mechanisms transformed separate structures into one continuous shield capable of resisting unimaginable hydraulic force. But the Atlantic struck with incredible violence. Waves rose like moving mountains. But the barrier absorbed. Outside the gates, chaos ruled the ocean. Inside the harbor, the water remained astonishingly calm, proving that engineering had changed the destiny. For millions of residents, the disaster became almost invisible. Transportation continued, electricity remained. Above ground, the city appeared calm. Below ground, an enormous hydraulic network quietly redirected floodwater through. When the clouds finally parted, the world witnessed something extraordinary. New York had survived its greatest storm. When the storm finally passed, the greatest engineering experiment in American history had proven itself. The city rose. Unlike disasters from the past, recovery began before sunrise. Transportation resumed, businesses Mestaless. Every successful operation generated billions of engineering measurements. The barrier immediately began inspecting its engines. The true strength of the system remained hidden beneath the waves. Autonomous submarines verified every foundation, ensuring.
Within minutes, the digital twin recreated the entire storm. Engineers could replay every wave.
Nature had become an essential partner. The restored wetlands absorbed enormous volumes of water, reducing pressures. The safest neighborhoods were no longer the highest. Intelligent architecture allowed entire communities to adapt naturally. Great infrastructure succeeds when people barely notice it. Every journey across the harbor depended on systems. Less than a century separated two very different futures. One city surrendered to floodwater. The other the $500 billion project did more than protect New York. It changed how humanity imagined the future of every coastal city on Earth. The success of New York changed everything. One city proved that protecting the future was no longer impossible. It was simply an engineering decision. Across the Atlantic coast, governments began redesigning entire shorelines. The New York barrier became the blueprint for a new generation of climate-resilient cities. Inspired by New York, neighboring cities invested in intelligent coastal defenses, creating an interconnected shield. The future was no longer defined by concrete alone. Green infrastructure absorbed water naturally while creating healthier neighborhoods and restoring forgotten ecosystems. 6. Even the ocean benefited. Artificial reefs strengthened biodiversity while reducing wave energy, proving that engineering could. New materials transformed infrastructure itself. Self-healing concrete and advanced steel alloys extended the lifespan of coastal defenses.
Maintenance became almost invisible. Autonomous robots repaired tiny imperfections before corrosion could spread,
Instead of reacting to disasters, engineers began forecasting entire decades. Artificial intelligence simulated millions of posits. For the next generation, the barrier was no longer an emergency project. It simply became part of everyday life. What began as humanity's response to rising seas became something far greater, a new philosophy of living beside the ocean. The greatest engineering achievement is often the one people never notice. Every peaceful night across New York Harbor, even while the city sleeps, artificial intelligence analyzes tides, wind patterns, and ocean pressure, searching continuously for the earliest signs of danger.
Every wall can feel. Embedded fiber optic sensors measure microsensors.
Instruments. Far below the harbor floor, tension anchors connect the barrier directly to ancient bedrock, creating foundations strong enough.
The visible barrier is only half the system. Beneath Manhattan, an underground hydraulic network silently manages billions of liters of water during every major storm.
Engineering did not separate people from nature. It created neighborhoods where architecture, water, and ecology exist together in remarkable harmony. Today's. By 2100, infrastructure repairs became almost entirely autonomous. Intelligent machines completed maintenance.
Rather than predicting a single future, the system continuously simulates millions of possible storms, preparing the cities.
The Statue of Liberty once welcomed millions arriving by sea. A century later, it also stands beside humanity's need. What began as a $500 billion engineering project became a blueprint for coastal civilization. 1 week after the greatest storm in modern American history, New York was already moving forward. The city's resilience had become its greatest achievement. Engineers from around the world traveled to New York to study the barrier, transforming one city's survival into a global blueprint for protecting coastal civilization. From Europe to Asia, rising seas threatened every great harbor. The ideas developed in New York. Future cities no longer viewed water as an enemy. Instead, they were designed to rise, adapt, and evolve alongside changing oceans. The barrier protected humanity while creating new life beneath the waves. Artificial reefs transformed industrial foundations.
The next revolution was not larger walls, but smarter materials capable of repairing themselves, extending the lifespan of infrastructure for generations.
Maintenance became continuous instead of reactive. Intelligent machines preserved critical infrastructure without interrupting the daily life of millions of residents. The greatest success of the project was not the barrier itself. It was creating a city where resilience became beautiful. For the next generation, these walls were never symbols of fear. They became symbols of hope, proving that humanity could solve. The $500 billion plan did more than save New York from the ocean. It redefined the future of coastal civilization, reminding the world. By the dawn of the 22nd century, this extraordinary barrier had become more than infrastructure. It became a symbol of peace.
Future generations would study this project not as a response to fear, but as the moment engineers changed.
History remembers disasters, but it remembers solutions even more. Every flood became a lesson that guided one of the greatest engineering transformations in American history.
From orbit, the barrier is almost invisible. Yet its impact reaches far beyond New York. The greatest victory was not defeating nature. It was creating a city where resilience became beautiful enough to disappear into everyday life. The structures protecting millions of people also created new habitats beneath the waves, proving that engineering and ecology could strengthen one another instead of competing.
The city's greatest defense is no longer concrete alone. It is knowledge, continuously predicting the future before the future arrives.
$500 billion did not simply purchase stronger walls. It invested in another century of security, prosperity, and confidence for one of humanity's greatest cities.
For over 200 years, this harbor welcomed dreamers from around the world. Now the ocean will continue to rise. Storms will continue to test humanity. But the